do have our first speaker with us, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in for what I think will be a very informative session. You know, a wise person once told me you can give a person a fish and they eat for a day, but if you teach them how to fish, they eat for a lifetime. And that's what Sam Runta is going to do today. He is going to, metaphorically, teach us how to fish on Franklin County Auditor's website. Sam?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Well, we certainly have a lot of fish on this site. It's a pretty extensive list of features we have, but hopefully by the end of this, you'll have a feel for the site itself, how to kind of navigate it, get a feel for the kinds of things that we do, kinds of things you can access on our website. For yourself. And then, of course, we have a wonderful public information team and a bunch of resident experts on all kinds of different, just all kinds of different topics, because we're a kind of a catch-all for a lot of different kinds of government services. But the big thing, of course, is real estate, development, housing, property taxes. Those are the things we're kind of best known for. So I'll kind of do an overview of that, try and keep it concise, and I will absolutely be able to take any questions if the team feels like they have time. But regardless, we can get you guys in contact with me afterwards if there's any further questions. So I'm going to try and share my screen here real quick. If you can see. So this is our website homepage. Got a great little picture of the auditor here, but the big thing that a lot of people go to first is our real estate tab. Through here, you can get our property search. You can get into homestead exemption transfers, the Board of Revisions, which is pretty big during reappraisal cycles. But I'm going to start real quick. Will wanted to make sure we got to Homestead. That was a big piece. That's definitely a big piece of what we do in our real estate section. We do we administer the Homestead exemption program here in Franklin County. There is you'll go right here to this real estate tab. You can click on the Homestead here, and it'll take you to a list of forms, depending on which ones you qualify for. Now, the two big ones would be the homestead exemption for senior citizens and permanently and totally disabled homeowners. And then, of course, the enhanced homestead exemption for disabled veterans and surviving spouses of public service officers killed in the line of duty. Now, there will be different forms here. We really like to push people to this one right here, the electronic filing. Of course, it cuts down on work with us, but then also there being an electronic record kind of makes it easier for a back and forth. It's relatively straightforward. It's not super long compared to some of the other forms that we have on our website, and we got a lot of forms. But this is probably the best way to go. Now, you'll have to insert, all your basic information, and then the big one down here is total income. It's basically the income that you would report on a tax return. So that's kind of the basic homestead exemption here. We have the homestead exemption application for disabled veterans as well. Now, you'll get a little bit of a view up here of what it does. it'll be an exemption of the first $25,000 of their home's appraised value for taxation. Now, you're all in Columbus City School District, so you'll be able to go in here and see what that homestead reduction would be worth in tax dollars. So that would be the this would be in using 2020 tax rates with what we have on file. Would be that would be your reduction in taxes if you qualify for the homestead exemption. Now, the homestead. Oops. Let's see. I'll get back to the center here. So for homestead, eligible senior citizens include eligible really means the biggest piece is the income. Is the income qualification. Now, the maximum income to qualify for homestead for this year is $34,200. So that's the maximum annual income there. You'll have oh, sorry, Will. You're looking for household or individuals. So this would be for whoever the applicant is for I believe it would be the individual applying. So if the senior citizen is that is the individual rate, and then I believe there's another calculation that may allow you to qualify including household calculations, but this is the you'd be able to put that total together into a different calculation if you have multiple individuals who are pulling in an income in that household. So that is that's homestead right here, like I said, in the real estate tab. Now like I had mentioned, yeah, your school district will determine your reduction amount, and pretty much everyone in Franklin Park, I believe, is going to be in Columbus City School District. But if you'd like to look that up, bringing me to the next section is over here on the left side of our real estate tab is the property search function. Now, there are a few different ways to do this. There are so you can search owner by your name. You can go by the parcel ID. Most people don't have their parcel ID. You can go by the address, obviously. A lot of times, the best way to do it, especially if you're doing research, is to go through the map search here. So it'll bring you into a whole map of the county, and as you zoom in closer and closer into Franklin Park here, it will divide out into these little red lines that the GIS overlay puts into the map. That'll be every little box you see here is one individual parcel, and then you can see the parcel numbers on top of it. Now, that's those parcels are all broken up in different, sometimes very strange ways, but you'll be able to kind of click through. Each of these will pull up a little bit of information that you'll be able to use, and just previous sales is just in this little pop-up box. That being said, you'll be able to, and I believe Will wanted me to check out the new trolley barn area over here. So there's a little bit of history about that here, but if you click into the parcel ID, there's just the number that you click in right there. It'll pull up this property search page with the individual parcel page. The here along the side, you'll kind of see just a bunch of little tabs that'll take you through the they'll take you through the all of the just troves of information that we have. So you'll see a ton here through you'll see taxable value, building data. This is obviously a very old building that was built here, 1887. That's one of the older ones that we see. So in the chat, we're getting the household or the parcel. Will, you said the parcel page did not pop up. Are you guys not seeing the parcel page? Oh, interesting. I wonder why. So let me try. How about that? Is that one working?
There you go.
All right, cool. So, all right, so here is the parcel page individually. Sorry about that. The individual, you can see individual, pieces of information in this main page here. But I think a lot of people tend to want to go straight to the tax information. That's a pretty big one that we get. So there is a ton here about, the taxes that are being paid. And, a lot of times there will be special assessments here. This one doesn't really seem to have a whole lot, but the tax distribution as well. This is where you'll see the where each of the individual pieces of tax are actually going to. So you'll see 1.97% here is going to the the county general fund, children's services, alcohol, drug, and mental health. Just kind of a nice breakdown that I know a lot of people like to see there as well. And then additionally in here, you'll be able to see any special tax abatements. Now, this one may have them coming. I'm not sure if there was an agreement with the developer as it's getting built here, but we have a essentially, this isn't all real time. This is all the this is all the information that we get from the cities during each Turk period, and it's updated periodically, but it's not always updated immediately. So if you hear about something and then immediately want to jump in and check out the check out the tax information, it may not always be up there. We tend to get it pretty soon after we get the information from the city itself. And so you'll be able to see, all kinds of little bits of information in here. I encourage you to go through and explore it for yourself. And then, of course, our public information officers, if you give us a call or myself, we can help you kind of navigate any of the specific pieces as well. So I had been talking about tax incentives, so this would be a good time to Kim, we have not gotten all of the new information from the cities yet. We have in a couple of months a big new dump of information coming as well. So like I said, it's not all real time. So it'll be a it will be updated periodically, but if there is some recent information, like the city just passed some legislation, we probably wouldn't have it yet. We are building our relationship with the city's information pipeline as well to try and make sure that we are getting as up-to-date information as is possible. But again, this is actually the first year that we've launched the tax incentive, this tax incentives hub. So there's some new information that we are making easily accessible to the public, but we are still working out some initial systems to be able to do that quickly. But there will be more changes coming in the next few months, so stay tuned. So let's see if I can go back to the homepage here. Can you guys see the homepage now? Maybe? Cool. All right. So I had been talking about tax abatements or tax incentives generally. That is a good time to bring this tax incentives hub. Our new one is has just been launched this summer. This is brand new. We are rolling it out. There are we've been making some pretty consistent changes, but this is the hub generally. It's a it kind of started from the Turk report that we had released last year, which is down here way at the bottom of the tax incentives hub. If you go into here, it'll get you some more detailed information about the individual cities and the some kind of broad-based information for each city. It's very interesting to go through and look through all of the data that we released. That was back in January, I believe. But we will have a new one coming as part of those changes that I had mentioned. That'll all be coming in the next couple of months. So we're excited about being able to provide even more accountability pieces, making sure that taxpayer dollars are getting spent the way that they should be. There are a ton of there's a ton of information that's in this report, but like I said, we'll have some actual hopefully some more information about, jobs created, detailed pieces like that. Now, getting into the hub itself, there are the two big ones are abatements and TIFs. There's also CAUV, which is agricultural land use valuations. Those will change by, it changed by soil type, by what's being grown, things like that. And there's, not a ton from the, there's not a ton from Franklin County, as we're not an overwhelmingly agricultural county. And then the exemptions, there's actually a decent amount in here. It'll be let's see. So the exemptions you'll be able to get in and download a form to apply for the real estate tax exemptions, but we're hoping to soon have some detailed information about who specifically in the county qualifies for these exemptions. Usually it's churches and government entities, and then of course the biggest one is the state of Ohio, based right here in Franklin County. So there's a lot of that. There's a lot of exemptions for state universities, religious institutions, things like that. But the big ones, like I had mentioned, are these abatements and these TIFs. The abatements are a pretty hot topic right now, as I'm sure a lot of you know. There is a ton of debate over whether they're good or not. Broadly, we are not. We don't think abatements are good or bad. We just maintain the data about them. But we are the first county in the state and one of the first in the country to really push out a comprehensive way to explore this data. There's so this is the tax incentives hub, and it looks like it's having a little trouble loading right now. Let me try and refresh, see if it works. There we go. So this is the dashboard for tax abatements. You'll be able to see all of the little tiny abatements here that you see are properties that are abated under CRAs, EPA agreements from the state, enterprise zones. Of course, CRAs end up being the big ones. Now, if you are looking at this and looking at the side here, you'll see a pretty huge number here. There are, so this is all of the taxes that were abated under the in this screen that you can see here. So if you zoom in a little closer, you'll get out to like Franklin Park out here, and that number will change. So if you're really doing research, you get nerdy about this stuff like I do, you can kind of really zoom in and see what areas are the most densely abated, where those tax dollars end up going. And you'll be able to see as well the changes are also here in county general fund, ADMH, children's services, where those tax dollars would have otherwise gone. Now, so here in Franklin Park, you can kind of see there are a lot of individual properties that are abated. There is if you'd like to go in and actually look at one, there you're able to do that. This will if you click on an individual one here, it'll give you kind of an overview of that property itself, of the tax abatement values as well. And then you click this number right here, this blue one, that'll take you right back to our property search function. You can dive in, do a little further research as well. Let's see. So that is the abatements dashboard. I want to mention you can also filter it by city, village, township, school districts, etc. I will get to your questions in a second, Kim. I am going to just finish up real quick here with the TIFs before we dive into abatements and incentives broadly. This is the TIF function. You can get a little bit of information because they can be a little complex, but the TIFs will be it works very, very similarly. Each of these, instead of individual properties, you get kind of zones that are TIFed. Now, the zones are actually those each of those for any it essentially kind of redirects tax dollars as opposed to just abating them entirely. You'll have you'll have those dollars going to actual individual improvements. You can see there's not a ton of density of TIFs over near Franklin Park. There's really not much here at all, but you can kind of see around the city broadly. This is one I kind of like to show. I think this is Easton, if I remember. Yep, this is Easton. So essentially what they did, they didn't TIF it all at once. They kind of broke it up into different project zones. So it's based on when those projects were going to be completed. That kind of, the benefit to doing that for them is they get, if a project's not done, you'll be able to, TIF just this new zone here that will extend that TIF for in this case, it's 30 years. But each of these are different project zones for Easton as well. And then it, like I said, like the last time, it'll break down by taxes that were diverted. Now those taxes aren't necessarily gone, like I mentioned. They are being diverted to individual funds, but the detail to which we can get information about those funds really depends on the city. So like I had mentioned before, we're trying to build up that information pipeline with a lot of municipalities here to really try and dive into the what each individual fund is spending on. Some give us more detail than others, but that is something that we definitely hope to have to keep improving on in future iterations of this project. I was going to get to unclaimed funds, but I think I'm kind of running out of time. Will, I don't know if you wanted to open it to questions or for me to go real quick through unclaimed funds. I'll leave that up to you.
Well, thank you, Sam. That was a lot of grist for our mill.
Yeah, rushing through in
you,
20 minutes. I tried.
So from the overall, can you go back to the homepage? Are there any areas, let me ask quickly, are there any areas on the homepage that people have a burning desire to know a lot more about? And then if you can direct them to where they can get more information.
Yeah. Well, so is that a question for
for
asking
our
people,
group? I'm sorry. Yes.
For the group. Got it. Yeah.
So yeah, if looking at that homepage, and I like the little icons down below because they cover everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of little tools in here as well.
So if there's anything that Sam didn't get to get into today, is there anything that any of our members or attendees today would like to know how they can learn more about? If you let us know by coming online or sending a chat.
Let's see. Oh, by the way, unclaimed funds is here under fiscal, I should mention.
Very good.
But yeah, so real estate, so overlays, it'll really depend. So we have a lot of little mapping functions. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. And like I know a lot of people really like the real estate dashboard. So that is an overlay. That'll kind of take you through that's on this main slider. We always have the real estate dashboard up. So that's this middle one right now. So that is one of the overlays we have. There is a data portal here that will get you through a lot of our GIS functions. Though we have elevations, administrative areas, parcel publishing, things like that. So that's also definitely something worth exploring as well.
Sam, we're just going to have to get you an office out here. I tell you, there's so much. Get your office in the trolley barn. But listen, if there's no other questions, I tell you, I'm going to get with Kim and ask her to get with you to describe the overlays that she's referencing that NEAC discussed, so we can come back and discuss that a little more fully, since that seems to be directly pertinent to our area. How does that sound?
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good. So I wasn't sure if we're talking about the mapping overlays or the overlays for the for like city planning purposes.
I'm thinking of city planning overlays. Kim, is that right?
Yes, that's right. And that's what was brought up at NEAC. And I think that we need to be much more familiar with those overlays, since that's how they're dicing up our neighborhood.
Yeah, and I would just add that the city has their own kind of mapping department, and I think what we would probably benefit from doing is asking them to come in and explain from their planning perspective what planning areas they have in place that encompass the Franklin Park and Near East.
Surprised nobody can just plug their laptop in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't believe that we have any city planning overlays on our GIS side, especially ones that are kind of being discussed and debated by the city right now.
Right.
But our GIS team is like I showed you, we got a ton of little features and mapping features, so planning overlays may be something that we can incorporate in the future. I'll talk to them and see if that's something that we could incorporate into our website.
Well, we definitely appreciate your willingness to do that, and we definitely appreciate you taking time after work today to speak to our members. Can we give Sam a virtual round of applause? I heard 2 applause. Okay.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sam.
y'all.
I do a lot of work on your mapping program. It's one of the better ones in the state, so there's a compliment.
Thank you. We love to hear that. Yeah, we got a ton of features to try and keep track of, but our GIS team is amazing. They really do great work, and I will pass those compliments on to them.
The only concern I've heard is that it's taking a while to get documentation like of record. So like I'm wondering if the experience is that things are taking longer to get into your records than they had been a couple of years ago. You have any comment on that?
So the very possibly could be talking about transfers. So it depends which documentation you're looking for. Some are quicker than others. Now,
Yeah, deeds and mortgages, that kind of stuff.
yeah. Yeah, those I can say that a huge piece of it right now is just how much development is happening, and we have a staff that was built for a certain level of development, and then things started picking up, and we were trying to create new systems, and then the pandemic hit, and everybody in the county, everybody in the country wanted to come to Columbus and buy property. We are working on improving those systems. We are trying to make as many things digitally accessible and digitally as digitally accessible as possible. That is also a large and expensive process as well. We pride ourselves on trying to be as forward thinking as possible there, but we are increasing that capacity. We have been for sure, but there is it's just so much. There's just such a huge rate of development now that it might take us a second to be able to boost our systems that way.
All right, Sam, thank you so much again. And we look forward to talking and working with you in the future. I'm going to turn it back over to Julia Lynn, our president, who is on the call with us at this time.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Will. I did think that our deputy chair was actually chairing tonight. Where's the speaker?
Sweet.
Is okay. If she said, well, all right, we'll keep going then. Again, thank you very much, Sam. Oh, you're on? Well, you started. You can continue.
Yes, I am.
Okay, please continue.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, we'll have updates on NEAC. Are you able to give updates on NEAC?
So
Roy?
Yeah, sure. The most important thing that's going on with NEAC right now is the election. So there's an election on Saturday. And I just checked the NEAC website again, and I don't see anything super helpful. So today, the elections committee of NEAC was to certify the candidates for Saturday's election and to notify them. And I unfortunately I have no information. If anyone else who's on this Zoom knows,
Roy, we've been certified.
that would be great, because I've not seen anything on it.
The candidates have been certified, Roy.
Where, okay, is it? I did not find it on the site. Is it?
It's not on the site. We just got letters earlier today from Miss Womack.
So what information, what did you learn?
It honestly, whatever's on the website is basically what's in that letter. All we got was a condensed version of the election packet that's already posted. So the election is to be held Saturday, October 2nd, from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. at the Near East Pride Center. That's 1393 East Broad Street at Broad and Lotta. There are campaign procedures for the candidates. And then just a note that for the election, COVID safety protocols will be followed. So there'll be an allowance for both walk-in and curbside voting. People are encouraged to practice social distancing. High touch areas will be disinfected, and masks will be provided as well as hand sanitizer if people don't bring their own. Outside of that, that's pretty much it.
Okay, my understanding though is that there are 4 candidates for District 4.
I was
Can
only
you
told
confirm
about.
that, Jay?
I can only confirm my letter.
So do
Yeah.
you know what candidates from District 4 are going to be on the ballot?
I had
No.
4. I had Jay and Gary Berry, who's also on the call tonight, Harry Zeller, and then one other fellow who I did not know, Tume. But there are 4 candidates for District 4.
And they're all certified.
Yes, this was a certified list.
All right, great. All right. I'm sorry, I didn't have that information, but I appreciate you.
Yeah.
You know, you bring that to our attention, and so I would certainly encourage everyone to go vote on Saturday. And I think that what's going to happen is that you know, NEAC is evolving, and you know, there's going to be a change in leadership, I suspect, before long.
Oh, maybe not.
What's that now? I mean, you could.
No, okay, yeah, no, I take that back. They were the nominees, but I don't know them to be certified.
Right,
There were
right.
4 nominees for the area, yeah, but I don't know them to be certified.
So there are obviously 2 seats in District 4.
And it was Joshua Tomey, that was the 4th one, Joshua Tomey. So we should, that should be from, okay, Will says they were, okay. Will says they were certified last night. So there are 4 certified candidates for District 4. Joshua Tomey, Jay Bolts, Harry Zellers, and Gary Berry. Those are the 4 certified candidates for District 4.
Okay, great. So clearly, you know, two of them will win, the 2 seats that are open. And there's also 2 other seats that are up for election, one in District 1 and one in District 3. So I think the seated commissioners are, you know, excited by the prospect of, new blood coming into the commission. And I think it's gonna be a new chapter for the commission. There are gonna be changes in a number of ways. So we put off the question of officers until after the new commissioners are seated. So as we get to the end of the year, really things will have changed significantly in terms of composition of the commission, and we'll see what else changes. I guess I'll leave it at that. I don't, in terms of other matters for the Near East Area Commission, I don't know of any particularly interesting or controversial zonings that are coming up immediately. So I don't really have anything worth reporting about that. So that would be my report.
Okay, well, thank you, Roy. Okay, can you remind us what time is voting this Saturday, just so everyone knows?
It is from 10 until I think 3. 10 to 3, and the
10 to 3?
It's at 1393 East Broad Street. Okay.
Okay. Brian, can we maybe see if we can put that on our Facebook page? Thank you. All right, so we'll move on to the treasurer. Okay, we'll move on to the treasurer report. Turn it over to you, Brian.
All right, I'll turn my. So Nick is out of town, and see if I can. So he did the Treasury report before he left a couple weeks ago. I can find it on my, get it on my phone. But there wasn't a whole lot. There's just like the Zoom account expense and the Zoom account, and then one new membership. So as of September 13th, our current balance is $6,196.06. 6196.06. And this was as of 2 weeks ago. So we should have a more thorough report for October, a lengthier one, when he gets back in town.
Okay, great, thank you. So I'll give the activities committee update, and then Miriam, Kirsten, feel free to jump in. So we are continuing with our walks. We had our walk for the month of September. We met the second weekend of the month due to the holiday. Moving forward, we will continue to have the walks each month for October and hopefully November, depending on weather. We also have some other things in the works. We have a shred event, which I'll let Miriam talk about. We also have some meetups that we're currently in the process of planning, as well as a porch hop. So please keep looking out for our emails and our posts on Facebook, because that's where we'll be posting all of our updates. Miriam, Kirsten, did I leave anything out?
That sounds good to me.
All right, well, we'll move on to public and member relations. Does anyone have any updates for that committee? All right, Kim, do you have anything for health and wellness?
Yes, I do. I have been speaking with people at the city and at the health department, trying to get a location to counsel any traumatized children in the neighborhood because of all the shootings that have gone on. I know that I personally went over to check on kids on Oak Street a few days ago, and they were absolutely horrified. And I also watched the video of the shooting, and that kind of stressed me out too. So we're trying to get some counselors into the neighborhood and a place to meet with those counselors. I think this is a really big deal. I also think that we should consider trying to regroup with the block watches. When I first came down here, there was a block watch on almost every block, and whether it does any good or not might be debatable. But what it does do is make everybody feel better and closer. So I would like to put that out there as well. And then again, the next item would be, it's garden cleanup. So everybody get out there and help with garden cleanup so we can have all the plots cleaned up for next year. And if anybody has a question, please let me know.
All right, thank you. Mr. Willis, do you have any updates for development?
Yes, I have had the pleasure.
I'm sorry, Will,
Go ahead.
sorry. I wanted to add something to Mika.
Okay.
'Cause under the health and wellness, we also have the community gardens. And you know, the community garden site managers have been meeting, and last month, or what was September, we met at Four Seasons when they were having their harvest festival. And we will probably meet one more time in a garden, and then we said we would come together and begin to think about collaborating around grants that would strengthen the gardens. And I know Richard and Anissa were very interested in having us come together and say, okay, let's now be strategic and think about what we can plan for next year. I mean, this year was about us getting together, seeing what people were doing, how people could be assisted. Now we want to see what we can take as the next step. So I think it's in the interest of everyone in the community, you know, to support our community gardens.
Thank you, Julie Lynn. I totally agree. And that's why I think the cleanup for the next year is really important.
All right, Mr. Willis.
Thank you very much. Kind of following on the theme of community gardens, one of the pillars of our organization is getting involved in the environment on whatever level you can, whether it's a home garden, a neighborhood garden, but also people get involved in the environment in recreational ways. And today I have a brief presentation from two people from the esteemed Knowlton School of Architecture, School of City and Regional Planning. That would be Kayla Robinson and Jacob Miller, who will tell us about an exciting project that they are looking for some input on called Rapid 5. Kayla?
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yes, with a little bit of echo. Are you near another microphone?
I think, yeah, we're gonna fix that right now. Okay, we're good.
Okay, Kayla, I just made you co-host. Do you want me to make Jacob a co-host also?
Yeah, he can be one just in case.
Yeah, add away. All right. Well, go ahead.
Okay, let me.
Jacob Miller.
Alrighty. Well, first,
Drum roll.
I'd like to thank Will Willis and the Franklin Park Civic Association for inviting us here today. So like Will was saying, we are a part of the Ohio State Milton School of Architecture, and we're in our senior studio for city and regional planning. And today, me, Kayla Robinson, I will be speaking, as well as Jacob Miller. Okay, so to start with the overall project that we're working on, we're working with Rapid 5. So basically what it is, it's a cohesive plan for improvement and development, working along the 5 riparian corridors, so the rivers and creeks in Franklin County. So that'll be including Alum Creek, the Big Darby Creek, Scioto River, Big Walnut Creek, and Olentangy River. Their overall vision is to reimagine the connectivity of the region's base natural geography defined by the waterways. So they're also looking to connect Franklin County residents to the regions, so that way they'll have access to natural resources, cultural, educational explorations, economic opportunities, recreational sites, and relaxation areas. The part that we're focused on is going to be with AECOM and their vision. So each of the corridors were broken down and separated out by private consulting firms. So there are other consulting firms, but what we're focused on is Alum Creek and working on their part. So their vision for Alum Creek is enhancing their green and blue assets, the history, communicating serving institutions, community serving institutions, and local employment and economic mobility. So those are their overall goals, and we'll go deeper into their objectives. With each of those parts of the river that they want to include the objectives of community, ecology, mobility, and economy. So we'll look through, we took some screenshots of some of the pages on their website of some of the visions that they are looking forward to achieving in the near future. So this is an image of Hanford Village and their vision plan for it. And what they're looking for are to add more community amenities. They're looking to add more areas that have community spaces. They kind of had like a vision to add more economy aspects, such as job training, things like that. And you can kind of see the area where they have artwork, more Coda bus stops, relocating Kroger, and things like that. Some other screenshots that we have are just along the pathways. They want to also highlight the history. They want to make more open spaces along the rivers, and they want to do an overall trail improvement. And this is another image of the trails that they have. Once again, working to clean up also the water quality as well, having multi-use paths, and just making it more usable for the communities. And these were some other ideas that they had to make it more community-based and more connectivity that they have. So things like hot air balloon rides, having sculpture parks, and just flexible event spaces. Moving back with mobility with Hanford Village, they also wanted to redirect I-70 and make more spaces available so that residents and community members have more green spaces as well. So those were the goals from AECOM, and Jacob's going to go ahead and explain how our studio would like to expand on this project.
Cool. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Is that better? Great. So yeah, I just want to go over some of what our studio is focusing on. So the main three that we're focusing on is one, enhancing community engagement and seeking input from Alum Creek users. So AECOM, they worked with a lot of different stakeholders. They worked with a lot of institutions along the Alum Creek corridor, which we have been as well. But we also want to see, what are the thoughts of regular Alum Creek users, whether that be trail users, whether that, canoers, whatnot, and also just anyone who lives along the Alum Creek and doesn't use the Alum Creek. We want to know why they don't, utilize Alum Creek as much. So that's a major aspect of our project. The next is to become more knowledgeable on the communities that are being affected by Alum Creek. as Kayla mentioned, the history and the context for a lot of these communities is very important. So it's important for us to build off of that as well. And then finally, we want to expand upon AECOM's vision with a set of clear recommendations that also have a plan for implementation. So basically, AECOM, they had a vision, right? So their ideas were more broad, more general, more we want to focus more on what we can actually achieve practically, and which of their recommendations make sense, which we could build upon, and then any recommendations we come up with on our own. And we also want to have a key strategy for implementation. So that means, acquiring funding, acquiring partners, those kind of things. So next slide. There we go. Okay. So for the timeline of our project, we started this project in August with a research phase. So this meant we held multiple meetings with some of our primary clients. So that was with AECOM, who went over the project for us, gave us a lot of really good background to their project, context, some additional areas of exploration and research for us to build on. And then also we had a meeting with the city of Bexley and Metro Parks, as they are two key stakeholders along the corridor. We also conducted multiple site visits, as well as starting to collect all that vital information, such as historical data, historical records, statistics such as safety data, those kind of things. And then now we are currently in that outreach phase. So we're seeking community input through direct communication with our key stakeholders, such as yourselves, as well as we have a survey that I'll talk about more later. And then so a week from today, we'll be having our midterm presentation, and this is open to anyone who would like to come. So we have we'll have a presentation to our clients and stakeholders, just showing some of that preliminary research that we've created, as well as some of the preliminary recommendations that we've and some of our ideas that we've started to come up with, so that we can start the feedback gathering process. And then for the rest of October, we'll be implementing that feedback. So we'll be sort of adapting our recommendations based on what we've heard from the midterm, as well as the continued outreach that we are doing. And then so in November, we can start to finalize our recommendations, take everything from our research, our outreach, our feedback, put it all into one final deliverable with clear final recommendations. And then so in December, we will be presenting those final recommendations with a Zoom presentation, as well as publishing a final document online and in print. So yeah, if you want more information, please feel free to come to our midterm presentation on October 5th. It'll be on Zoom as well. I'll be sharing the links to all of this, all of the survey, everything I've talked about with you during this meeting, as well as we'll be following up as well to make sure everyone gets that information. And yeah, then we'll here's a QR code for our survey, as well as the link to our survey. Feel free to take this now or save it for later and give us your feedback there. And then I think we're going to open it up to some questions and comments, concerns, those kind of things. Any ideas you might have about Rapid 5, our studio, Alum Creek. If you want to share them here, feel free. You can unmute yourself, or you can put it in the chat, or you can save it for the survey. Each of those is good. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Kayla. I would just say that we have one person who has already signed up to provide some direct feedback. I think that's Jay Bolts. He was kind of familiar with this project and he volunteered. So if there are any other people who would like to volunteer to provide or generate some input into how this Alum Creek related project can benefit from the Franklin Park area and vice versa, please let us know. Tamika?
Yes, thank you both. Mr. Willis, any updates on old news on FPCA's nonprofit status?
The bylaws have been revised and sent out to the board members, And I'll be talking with them between now and their next executive committee meeting. And we will hopefully be voting on those proposed changes at that time, and then bring those proposed changes back to the membership at their October meeting.
All right, great. Okay. Miriam, any updates for the shredding event?
Yes, 1 second. I wanted to ask Kayla a question. I was trying to type it out to her really quickly, but I'm a very slow typer. Hi, everybody. I haven't seen you all in a while. So I have been very busy moving my parents cross country, and Mr. Willis was an amazing support in helping me get this shred information together and actually kind of come to fruition. He like really picked up the tail end of it because I was not having much success at the beginning, trying to find a place and getting people to call back. And finally, we did find a location. It's going to be at the Neighborhood Pride Center, and that's at 1393 East Broad Street. The contact person there is Mr. Jesus Ovali. And I might be saying it's Valle. Sorry, I do not speak Spanish, and I was like, I'm not going to say it. But I tried.
No worries.
Mr. Ovalle, and the date will be November 13th, which is a Saturday, and it's going to be from 9 to noon, so 3 hours. The individual which we're working with his name is Hayden, and he's from All Shred Services, and it's been a really positive customer experience with him. And they're not from Columbus, but they will be meeting us about 15 minutes early. And we have been very fortunate to have AARP sponsor this event, because the event is going to cost us probably about almost $1,000 or so. And AARP is going to be taking the lion's share of that by paying for all shred, and also probably some of our marketing needs. We definitely will need many volunteers for this. So I was, and we also want to market this to get a lot of the neighborhood, not just Franklin Park, but neighborhoods adjacent to that as well. So it's, a good turnout, good positive turnout. So we might be needing to reach out to BESA, or if we don't find enough volunteers within our own community. But I'm sure we can, if we keep that kind of reminders and just make sure everything is kind of rolling in that direction, to make sure we have adequate volunteers. And also probably the activities committee will have to come out, just to look at the actual space and see how the flow of traffic will have to happen, because we want to keep it moving, and we need volunteers to help bring out the papers to be shredded, and that way no one has to get out of their cars, and we'll try to little contact as possible. And some of the things that we're going to need, like I said, were volunteers to help with the flow of traffic, and also bringing in and out the shredded material and marketing supplies. We would like to have signage that will be going throughout our neighborhood and the neighborhoods near us, as well as posting to all of our social media and calendars. And let me check my notes. Yes, and then we have a budget and everything like that proposed to Franklin Park. And I just got an email from the representative from AARP just about an hour or so ago, hour and a half ago. She will be sending me over an agreement. So she just says, she said once she sends that out, after typing it up, getting the information about our location, cost, and all of that, the only thing that needs to happen is for me to type back, I agree, and then everything will be in place and ready to go. So mark it on your calendars for November 13th, 9 to noon at the Neighborhood Pride Center, because it's a go for pretty much. And that's it.
Yes, and please let any of us know if you would like to volunteer. Again, Miriam mentioned we'll need lots of volunteers for this event.
We're gonna need a lot. And also another thing too, yes, thank you, Mr. Willis. It is lifting probably those paper boxes, which they're probably like, what, 30 pounds or so. So I'm not really sure, but they're not light. So you want to be able to, if you're going to volunteer, keep that in mind, that it will be lifting up out of probably trunks as well as pulling out from back seats. What's up, Brian?
Okay, will there be like a limit of boxes? Because I know like a few weeks ago, I was like going to an event in Canal Winchester, and they had this shredding event at this funeral home where they had a 5-box limit, for example.
So when I asked Mr. Hayden about that, he said there's no limit. Did he follow up with that with you, Will, again? But when I spoke to him before, he said there was no limit.
No, he did not. And the
But
way
we
our
can get that
social media,
clarification.
yeah, we can clarify. And I think you talked about, Miriam, we want to clarify for our members what to bring, what not to bring, you know, like
Yes.
plastic bags, things with staples, etc. But the way our social media works, kind of to Brian's point, I'm sure we will have participants from other neighborhood groups in the Near East Side, and we welcome that. But you know, if it appears that we're going to get overrun, we'll have to figure out a way to moderate that. I have heard,
Yeah.
unfortunately, sometimes of businesses emptying out all their year-end files.
Well, you know, as one thing that Hayden, when he and I spoke earlier, he did say something. He's like, you can put a cap on something. So we can choose to do that if we want to.
Okay.
So if we want to do like, you know, a total of 4 boxes or something, because that seems reasonable, and then it maybe would deter the larger businesses from coming through, we could do something like that. But I think this, the specifics of like, and he said it will take the plastic sleeves, it will take staplers. He said the only thing it doesn't take are those large, they're not called paper clips, they're called something else, but there's a black ones. What are they called?
Staples.
Butterfly clips.
No.
Yeah, they're
Alligator clips. Yeah, butterfly clips.
Yes, they're just really big. He said that's
Bulldog.
yeah, those are but we can put that on our marketing, like what is acceptable or what is not acceptable. That would be, you know, that when it has to be that specific, we'll put that in like all of the social media, our little asterisk kind of thing.
All right, sounds great. So we'll keep you all posted on that. Again, stay tuned to our emails that will be sent out, as well as our Facebook. So let's move on to new business. First Friday, does anyone want to talk about that? First Friday presentation by Billy Silva.
So Billy Silva, who is a resident in the area, works with a variety of neighbors who have been having small conversations about race and unity in our neighborhood and pretty much throughout the city. And he's really passionate about it. You know, he's always asking me, what are you doing next Saturday? What are you doing next Sunday? What have you? And actually, they have had their committee meetings on the same night that we have our association meeting. So he's really looking forward to familiarizing our members and participants with that initiative. So he would like to speak on that this Friday. I think we start at 7 and go to 8. And I'm not sure if it's going to be just him or he and a couple of the other people who conduct these sessions, these discussions with him. But I think it'll be really enthralling and really worthwhile. Everybody I know who has been to one of those sessions, and some of you have found them to be very thought-provoking kind of discussions. Anybody want to add to that?
I just wanted to add, my daughter is a part of one of the youth groups for the Unity groups, and she goes every Saturday from 1 to 3, and she loves it. They've made posters and all kinds of stuff, and I've attended one of the discussions, and it was really beautiful. It's a really beautiful thing he's doing. So yeah.
All right, very good. And as we typically do, we will record that for those who may not be able to make it on Friday night, so you'll be able to enjoy it on demand on our Facebook site as your schedule permits. Thank you. That's all I have on that, Tamika.
Can you send me that info?
What'd you say? I'm sorry, Brian.
Can you send me that info?
Yes, I certainly will.
So we'll send an email out with the link and everything for that.
Yeah, and he's working on kind of a marketing flyer that we can use. So as soon as I get that, Brian, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, well, I'm gonna turn it over to Julian for the Mingo updates.
Thank you very much. And it isn't so much an update as it is a call to arms. How's that? The Mingo historically has been the flagship event for Franklin Park Civic Association. And for those of you who may be new to the organization, it is the oldest civic association on the Near East Side. So everything else that you see around here really is a spinoff from us. And the Mingo, which for a number of years was held in December, and then a few years ago, because the Franklin Park Conservatory was able to, needed the space basically, we moved to January. But the Mingo was a chance for neighbors to come together and literally mingle, meet each other, talk about things that we perhaps hadn't had a chance to talk about. It was a chance for people to break bread together. We brought different dishes and people shared food and we learned about each other's food, and you know, it was that kind of thing. It was in part a fundraiser. There was really a minimum cost. We said people could just bring a dish, but if you didn't bring a dish, I think it was like $10 last year or the year before last, just so that we would have something to go to expenses. But then we also had a what is it? The bidding, the gallery, silent auction. We also had a silent auction, and people collected things from throughout the city, actually. Certainly there were some very unique items from area members, residents, neighbors who made things or sold things as part of their business. And so we had a silent auction with a number of different activities, and that was in part a fundraiser. So I'd like for us to think about, what do you think our Mingo should look like in January 2022? This was 21, you know. Should we do we keep the same motto? We know that things are changing, but for the most part, people are coming back together. People are having in-person events. If we stay virtual, what do we do that really makes it different? We moved from, you know, we were doing 120, 130. Then the last one we had was January of 2019. No, 2020 was the last one in person, and we had 110. It was over at the conservatory. 2020 was at the conservatory. And then this year, it was virtual. And I don't think we had 50. So it was less than half of what we did in virtual. But again, 2020, you know, we were still knee deep in COVID. If you have experienced other organizations doing other kinds of things, and you think that this is something that we should think about, please let us know, because we really need to move forward. You know, by November latest, we need to, you know, have a plan in place, have a committee in place. You know, whatever we're going to do, we should have it laid out, because we know that it's very difficult to get a lot of things done in December. You know, people are on holiday, people are on leave, people just don't care, which is okay. People are tired, that's fine. So we really want to have a fairly good idea of what we want to do, how we want to do it, and then who will be responsible for our November meeting. So that's it. And I'll take questions or comments at this time.
You know, you alluded to the fact that people are at their own pace, deciding how they kind of go back outside, gathering groups. And January 2022 is probably closer than it seems. And I'm wondering where people who are on the call today would think would be a good, safe location to have an event like this, you know, whether it's a conservatory or whether it's somewhere out on the patio, you know, polar bear style, or, you know, some other location that allows people to be distant, but be able to interact, as it were, with each other. Anybody have any location suggestions or been to any good places lately?
And let me say that we've always been at Franklin Park because we had our meetings there, and that was part of our agreement that they would give us space for free to host 100 people. And if we leave the park, then we need to think about budget issues and what would it cost to rent a similar venue.
Yeah,
So is that agreement still valid? We can still use space there for free?
Well, we haven't been there since February of 2020.
Yeah.
So it's really a matter of our going back, and it's on my list. For us to, because actually, no, somebody contacted me. Somebody did contact me already that wanted to know what were, you know, what did we want, what were we thinking. So we just need to go back to them and say, because one of the issues was whether we should go back to in-person meetings. So if we were to have these meetings, because they provide a room each month for the meeting. So if we were to have the meetings there, that would be one way to get people, you know, familiar with being in person. And then, you know, we would begin to negotiate now for the space to have the mingle. Kim, what are your thoughts?
Well, I have to tell you, I think I've expressed this to you before. I think it's really, really important for us to keep our ties and grow them even more firmly with the conservatory. So, because they should be helping enrich our community since they are right there on the edge. And I think that if we peel off from them, we will lose those direct connections. As far as in-person meetings, I know this is also controversial, but you know, maybe we should require people to be vaccinated to come to these events. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there for people to think about. But I really, I mean, we do have expenses associated with this. We have to pay for the bar. You know, we have to buy our water from them. You know, there is stuff, there are costs associated with it already. If we don't engage with them, those costs are only going to go up and we will not get this space back. So, and I also think, you know, at some point we need to start meeting in person. Goodness gracious, there's people on this phone that I have never met.
Yeah. Okay, Miriam.
Well, I'm still a bit nervous having a large group of people indoors, but I like the idea that Mr. Wills brought up about do a polar bear style over by the glass shop, the hot spot. That's an open area. They could turn on the furnace and have like a glass demonstration, maybe as part of the mingle. And then they put up those big heaters, you know, I think there might be kerosene or something, I don't know, and then we have little like tabletops of people that can they can be with the people they feel safe with. Maybe we do it outside, and then the food is inside. You come in with your masks on, you grab your food in that little area where we had the food last year. Instead of going into the palm room, we go out into the hot shop area.
Okay, Tamika.
Yeah, I agree with Miriam. I'm still nervous about having a large gathering of people. And I also I know, you know, it's controversial, the vaccine. We want to hopefully, people do the research and are able to make the best decision for themselves, but we don't want to exclude anyone either. I love the idea of being able to do it outside. Franklin Park Conservatory is really beautiful around that time of the year too. So I think it will be a great place to host a party. I think we get really creative. I'm sure they have those heaters we can put out. We can do, like Miriam said, the tall top tables. We can still have a bar outside. We can just get creative. I think it could be a great place to have something. I mean, you have to think about it. The zoo, they go year round. So I think it could be, we can get creative.
Okay, Jay or Kirsten? I have no idea who it actually is. I just see a hand up.
Sorry, it's just me. Kurt's out of town. I just want to play devil's advocate just a little bit. I love the idea of keeping it at the conservatory, but weather, especially in January, can be very, very unpredictable. And if we have a really, really cold streak again, just kind of keep that in mind, that those little kerosene heaters are not gonna fit the bill for a lot of people, not to mention we need to get people out there. So just playing devil's advocate, I'm thinking about this holistically.
Okay.
I think that's a great point. I think maybe we've historically had it in January due to the situation. Should we be flexible with our date?
Oh, that was our flexibility. Oh, you mean you want to move it up to June or something?
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I know a lot of the other cities, they have outdoor events beginning of December. So before it gets really
okay. No, the conservatory, although it's a nonprofit, and I say this again and again, being a nonprofit does not mean you cannot make money. It's what you do with your money that determines your federal tax status. So they are definitely into making money. And November through really late October, definitely November, December, that is their peak season for making money. So they had to move us completely out of December because they were giving it to us for free in return for as a good neighbor. Our good neighbor agreement was that we would have the room for monthly meetings and we would have a room for the party in December. And they made money that night. They just could not risk losing the money they could make from one night in December. And that's why we were moved to January. Now, Miriam, your hand is still up. Are you?
Yeah, I had a second question. I had a second comment based off of Jay's. If I remember correctly, for the previous mingles, didn't we pay like an entry fee or something? What if we like prepay so that if people decide not to show up, then they don't show up? That's their choice not to show up if it's too cold.
Okay.
Would that be something that we could do?
It was $10 a person if you did not bring food. But if you brought food, you didn't have to pay. That's what we did. But we can rethink
that's right.
this. Let me take some of these ideas and I'll call on I'll co-op a couple of people to brainstorm with me and come back to you in October with some suggestions. Because I just come back to you with some suggestions because we need to figure out something. And one of the things that I'm always amazed about is that for some people, the only time they come into the conservatory is during the Mingo. Even though there are other activities and things happening throughout the year, there are people who don't do it. So I got a farmer's almanac. I do. I have it for 2022, but so we'll look at the polar bear idea. We'll look at everything. We'll look at our budget, and we'll see what we can do. Okay. So I am through with the Mingo, Madam Chair.
All right, Ms. Julia Lynn, you have any other updates or any other announcements?
The last Brownsville Growers Market, since it's right here under my name, is this Thursday. So I encourage everyone, whether you've been before or haven't been before, come on over. We've got presents for everybody. It's a community celebration. And we still have $1 a pound organic produce. You can't beat it. Nowhere in town can you get that. So I encourage you to come, bring family and friends. We have live music, and there are other vendors. And so you've got your choice of some free-range chicken and quail eggs and some baked goods and all kinds of stuff. So
What's that date again?
This Thursday, September 30th, from 3 to 6 p.m.
At the Box Park.
at the box
That's
park.
all right.
Okay, so that's it.
Yes, it is. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
Well,
But yeah, I have other announcements. So Columbus Marathon is back October 17th. So if you don't need to leave that Sunday morning before noon, please be advised Broad Street will be closed, Nelson will be closed the morning of, and all volunteers, runners, etc. need to be vaccinated, whatnot. And then Beggars Night is October 28th, 2 days after our next meeting. And Pumpkins Aglow is at the conservatory starting, I think, the 13th. They also have Harvest of Blooms going on. And next Sunday is the free Sunday for October. And they just had their hat day last Friday where they raised $500,000. And I saw on Channel 6 last night a spot on the little farm stand right by the caretaker's cottage. And our good friend Bill Dawson was interviewed on that as well. And then the reason why I was late to this call was because I was on a walk through the park with Mayor Ginther and several other community leaders, such as a few of our friends from NEAC, like Kate Curry D'Souza, who said hi, Commissioner Womack, and the new police chief, Bryant, and Deputy Chief Potts. And I know that Lava C is going to try to meet with Chief Bryant and Deputy Chief Potts in a few weeks for their meeting. So that's that.
Thank you, Brian. So do we have motion to adjourn?
Could I ask a question there? Brian, what was the purpose of the walkthrough in the park? I didn't quite get that.
So they were like for like people that had things they wanted to bring up with the mayor. For example, Commissioner Boykin brought up like Celebrate One, for example, and then Kate brought up like concerns about traffic flow, and like there are like several people.
It just happened to be at the park. It wasn't about the park.
No,
Like-
Roy.
I was curious what was going on.
Yeah, no. The mayor was interested in introducing the police chief to the Near East Side.
Oh, I get it.
Jesus had contacted me about participating, representing Franklin Park Civic Association. And due to another meeting, I was not available. Fortunately, Brian was available, but it was his way to introduce the new police chief to the Near East Side with selected representation from the commission and civic associations.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's 8 o'clock. I don't want to keep everyone too late. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All right.
Thank
We
you.
will see you all. Hopefully we'll see you all this week at some of the events at the Brownsville Farmers Market on Thursday. And hopefully we'll see you Friday at the discussion with Billy.
Yes.
Then Saturday, a walk. And also, after we're done walking, we're going to go walk to the Pride Center to vote for NEAC.
Yes, definitely.
Let's
go
do
to
that
the
as part of our walk. Why don't we just do that as part of our walk?
Yeah, let's do it.
I agree.
Go for it.
Okay.
All right.
What time is the Beggars Night, Brian?
It depends. I think usually for Columbus,
Like 5 to 8,
6 to 8. I know Bexley is
6 to 8. Okay.
but
Hey, guys,
Thanks, guys. See ya.
wait. One more thing I want to bring up, if just 2 seconds for future thought. Last week they outlawed scooters in
Short
the
north.
short north
Short north.
because
Oh.
it promoted crime and theft, and they loaded them all up and dumped them on Franklin Park.
Right,
So I think we should address that.
right.
I mean, are you kidding me?
yeah.
So just something to think about.
I wish I knew 3 hours
Thank you,
ago. I
Kim.
brought it up. But
Thanks,
yeah,
Kim.
speaking of police, our community liaison officer is back on desk duty. Officer Kayla, update on that.
Great.
All right. Well, love to everyone.
Bye.
Great idea.
Bye.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.